There are 6 signals that those who are elderly exhibit 6 months before their death, including both emotional and physical pain. Have you ever witnessed a loved one alter in a way that was quite inconspicuous, only to discover much later that it was a sign of something much more significant? The final 6 months of life are a time when many elderly people exhibit symptoms that are relatively easy to dismiss as being a natural part of the aging process. Nevertheless, these alterations are frequently the body's way of getting ready for what is to come, even if no one in the immediate vicinity takes notice of it. And here's the thing. While some of these signs are physical, others are extremely emotional or even spiritual. Some of these signs are physical. Some are quiet. Some have an air of mystery about them. And a few of them might even take you by surprise. As we progress through this video, we are going to go over 6 symptoms that older people frequently exhibit in the months leading up to their demise. These are not intended to terrify or overwhelm you. Rather, they are designed to assist you in comprehending, preparing for, and possibly finding calm in seeing what is currently taking place. It is possible that this film will be one of the most significant videos you ever view, particularly if you are a person who is helping a loved one or if you are traveling this journey yourself. We ask that you remain with us until the very end because one of the final symptoms that we will discuss is one that a lot of families overlook, despite the fact that it can be one of the most obvious messages that the body delivers. Now, let's get started. In the first sign, there is an abrupt return of vitality or lucidity. A rally, as it is commonly referred to by medical professionals, is one of the most unexpected signals that can arise in the final 6 months of a patient's life. It is the circumstance in which a person who has been exhausted, withdrawn, or even unresponsive suddenly appears to become more receptive. It's possible that they will talk more, eat better, and laugh more than they have in weeks. Moreover, for a little instant, there is a glimmer of hope, not just for the family, but also for the individual themselves. This may give the impression that they are getting better to someone who is watching, which can be emotionally reassuring. On the other hand, within the realm of medicine, this surge of vitality is typically fleeting and signifies a transition rather than a recovery. This takes place as a result of the body releasing any accumulated energy or experiences during the final period of its formation. For a brief amount of time, the individual may experience a momentary shift in chemistry, during which their thoughts may become clearer, the pain may appear to be less, and they may feel more like themselves. For several weeks, there was a woman named Helen who was 82 years old and had been sleeping for almost the entire day. She even went out of bed to sit at the kitchen table, laughed with her grandson, and requested for her favorite food from the kitchen. All of these activities took place in the afternoon. When her daughter called everyone, she shared that she believed Helen was making progress in her recovery. However, Helen's energy began to wane just as swiftly 2 days later, and her decline resumed from the previous day. In no way does this imply quitting up. Doesn't mean you stop caring about things. However, by acknowledging this moment for what it is, a final window of connection, loved ones may be able to be truly present, to say the words they have been holding back, to forgive or be forgiven, or simply to sit silently and share space with one another. Even if this resumption of vitality may be a gift, it is actually a sign, and when viewed through the lens of compassion, it has the potential to assist both the individual and their family in discovering meaning in the moments that transpire after the event. Decreased participation in social activities is the second sign, one of the most obvious yet most misunderstood changes that occurs in the final months of life. Timur Niner-Isenim and Nards Saranin is a gradual withdrawal from social interaction with the outside world. In no way is it dramatic. The events do not take place all at once. However, it is possible that the individual will eventually cease answering phone calls. It is possible that they will start declining visits. It is possible that even talks that used to bring joy can feel like too much at times. However, this is not due to the fact that they are sad, furious, or depressed, although, of course, those emotions are also capable of existing. The majority of the time, it is because the body and mind are transitioning into a more tranquil state. A state in which the noise from the outside world, even the kind that used to feel reassuring, becomes exhausting. Those who know him well may argue that he simply does not appear interested in conversing anymore. It is possible that members of the family will observe that an individual who was before constantly at the center of things now prefers to sit on the side or not come out at all. It is not a rejection as such. The body is getting ready to relax, conserve energy, and reflect on itself, and this is a part of the process. One of the people who had always been the storyteller at the table, the first one to call, and the last person to leave a meeting was a man named Walter, who was 79 years old. However, as time went on, he started calling off dinners. After that, he ceased writing back to his email. In the end, he shared with his daughter that he simply enjoys the peace and quiet of these days. It was not melancholy, rather, it was tranquility, and within a short period of time, his health began to deteriorate. On the other hand, because his family had recognized the warning signs, they were able to sit with him in a more relaxed and attentive manner, without anticipating that he would perform or entertain them. This withdrawal can also seem emotionally draining. It's possible that the person appears distant and less interested in matters that were once important to them. They are not no longer concerned, rather, their energy is being diverted inside, toward memories, closure, or simply the slowing rhythms of the body. This is not because they have lost interest in the situation. Understanding that this is not something that can be fixed is really crucial. Recognizing, honoring, and meeting with patience are all appropriate responses to this matter. This is due to the fact that during those times of silence, a different form of connection can be made available, one that is not founded on words but rather on presence. I would appreciate it if you could use the second comment section below to let me know that you are continuing viewing this video and that you are finding these insights to be helpful. I strongly suggest that you subscribe to the channel and activate the bell if you have not already done so. This will ensure that you do not miss any videos. With your assistance, we are able to continue producing high-quality content that will both inform and inspire you. Now, let's proceed with our plans. The third sign is a shift in the patterns of sleep and wakefulness. One of the most visible changes that occurs in a person's sleeping pattern is when they are in the final phases of their journey through life. On the other hand, it does not necessarily appear to be rest. It is possible that it will feel more like fading in and out of awareness, dozing off during discussions, sleeping deeply in the middle of the day, or waking up confused about the time of day or even where they are. It is possible for these changes to start as early as 6 months before the death of the individual, particularly in those who have chronic ailments or illnesses that progress over time. However, they frequently go unreported since, to the outside world, it appears as though the person in question is more exhausted than they normally would be. The actual situation is more complicated than it appears. The regulation of the circadian rhythm, which is the internal clock that contributes to our ability to remain alert during the day and sleep during the night, begins to slow down as the body's systems begin to slow down. The functioning of this clock is interrupted in elderly people who are getting close to the end of their lives. Even if they sleep for hours, they will feel exhausted when they wake up. It is possible that they will sleep for the majority of the day, but then around 2 in the morning, they will feel strangely aware. A gentleman by the name of Charles, who was 81 years old, started dozing off at the kitchen table after breakfast, and then he started doing so when he was having chats with his friends. His family believed that it was simply the natural process of aging. But as time went on, his slumber became more profound and he slept more frequently. Most of the time, when he was awake, he appeared to be confused. 6 months later, Charles passed away peacefully at home, with his sleep habits being one of the earliest symptoms of his illness from the beginning. There are instances in which these alterations in sleep are accompanied by vivid dreams or hallucinations. It is possible for people to communicate with loved ones who are not present. Or they may remark seeing things, light, music, or figures that are far away. Despite the fact that these moments can be unsettling, the individual who is experiencing them typically does not find them to be terrifying. In point of fact, they have the ability to bring about an odd peace. The person's loved ones might be concerned, wondering if they are okay or if there is something wrong with them. However, if families are aware that this transition between wakefulness and sleep is a natural process, they will be better equipped to respond with kindness rather than alarm. Know that it is not a sign of laziness, dementia, or giving up when you observe these adjustments, such as sleepiness, decreased awareness, and increased confusion regarding the passage of time. It is the body's way of indicating that it is getting ready for something more profound. And sometimes simply sitting next to them, allowing them to sleep, or holding their hand when they stir is more significant than any words could ever be able to express. Loss of appetite and a shifting connection with food are indicated by the fourth sign. An alteration in the manner in which the body interacts with food is one of the most obvious signs that the body sends out in its final chapter. Over time, meals that used to provide a sense of familiarity or routine start to lose their attractiveness. Favorite foods are still being prepared. Snacks that were formerly gone from the pantry are now sitting there, remaining uneaten. There is a possibility that you will observe lesser quantities, the absence of meals, or a subtle refusal of foods in the past they did ask for. It is not only a matter of personal preference. A biological signal is being sent. The body's requirement for energy drops significantly as it gets ready to pass away and prepares for the end of life. The organs start to slow down. The process of digestion requires more effort than it rewards. In the absence of any prior warning, the desire to chew, swallow, or even smell food may disappear. Nevertheless, this can be one of the most difficult transitions to watch for those who are providing care or for loved ones. In particular, as a family, we have a strong inclination to provide sustenance to people who are important to us. The feeling of being cared for, nourished, and strengthened is something that we want for them. Moreover, when they quit eating, it can feel like a personal attack. However, this is not the case. In a natural way. Moreover, the individual who is going through it frequently does not experience any hunger at all. Only a resolute lack of interest in the food that is being served. The 85-year-old Edna has always been someone who had a passion for cooking. One of her family's favorite desserts was her lemon pound cake. In contrast, even the scent of it made her queasy during the last few months of her life. She stopped drinking anything but water and started requesting ice chips. In an effort to entice her mother, her daughter offered her favorite soups and soft dinners. However, Edna gradually looked up and remarked in a soft voice, "I'm just not hungry anymore." She was not going to give up. It was merely her body's way of letting her know that it was time to rest. Alterations can occur unexpectedly at times. On other occasions, it takes a long time. Meals that are longer, bite-sized portions, or skipping dinner without making a statement. It is even possible that you will hear someone declare that everything tastes different or that there is no specific flavor at all. There is no imagination in that. The term is physiological. It is essential to shift the focus from calories to comfort at this stage in the process. Something as simple as a drink of something warm, a spoonful of pudding, or a piece of one's favorite fruit might take on a significant meaning. More for the ritual of sharing a moment, and less for the purpose of providing nourishment. Not getting them to eat the food on their plate is the important thing. It demonstrates that you are present, that you comprehend, and that even in the absence of words, their requirements are being taken into consideration. I would appreciate it if you could use the fourth comment section below to let me know that you are continuing viewing this video and that you are finding these insights to be helpful. I strongly suggest that you subscribe to the channel and activate the bell if you have not already done so. This will ensure that you do not miss any videos. With your assistance, we are able to continue producing high-quality content that will both inform and inspire you. Now, Let's proceed with our plans. Alterations in hue or a chilly sensation in the extremities are the fifth sign. The change in warmth and color that can occur in the hands, feet, or legs is one of the more noticeable changes that can occur in the final 6 months of a person's life. But it is also one of the most frequently misunderstood. It's possible that you'll observe that the person's toes start to appear bluish or pale. In spite of the fact that the environment is warm, their fingertips could have an unnaturally frigid sensation. These symptoms are not in any way random. As a result, they are indications that the body is focusing its energies inward. In the event that circulation slows down, blood will travel away from the limbs and concentrate on the critical organs. As a consequence of this, the extremities, which are the areas that are the furthest away from the heart, start to cool down and change appearance. At first, it might not be immediately obvious. Despite the fact that the weather is moderate, you might observe that socks are kept on throughout the day or that blankets are held more tightly. It is possible that the skin will develop a dark or mottled appearance over time, particularly in the areas of the feet and ankles, especially for individuals who believe that contact is synonymous with connection. This can be a challenging experience to see. You take the hand of a person you care about and notice how chilly it is. Despite the fact that the gesture is extremely significant, the underlying cause is not something that can be undone. You warm it with your own energy without thinking about it. The presence of this notice is a surprise to a great number of families. It is possible that they will believe that it is a circulation problem or that it is something that requires a new prescription. Nevertheless, in most cases, it is a sign that the body is conserving its resources and moving them to location where they are required the most. The individual might not even be aware of it. They might have feelings of calmness or sleepiness, oblivious to the shift. This is due to the fact that this period is not uncommonly uncomfortable and is simply a part of the body's tranquil retreat. In the past, there was a man named Harold who was 78 years old and used to take pleasure in sitting on his porch with his hands wrapped around a warm cup. He had stopped participating in such morning routines over the course of the past few months. Upon his daughter's inquiry, he responded with a straightforward explanation: "My hands get cold too quickly now." She didn't give it much thought until the hospice staff explained that it was one of the warning indications that the body was beginning to decline. What was wrong was not the weather outside. It had to do with the temperature inside. It is possible for loved ones to shift their focus from mending to soothing if they recognize this sign. There is no need to use additional heaters in order to warm the feet. It's about having a presence that says, "I see you and I'm here," as well as having comfortable socks and blankets to wrap yourself in. These shifts typically start occurring a significant amount of time before other indicators become apparent. And when they are understood rather than feared, they present a chance to respond with care, to create a place in which silence and stillness are cherished rather than filled. A sudden sense of emotional tranquility or spiritual clarity is the sixth sign. A sudden sensation of emotional serenity is likely to be one of the most surprising and profoundly moving transitions that might occur in the final months of life. Even in individuals who have been living with feelings of restlessness, worry, or regret for a considerable amount of time, it may strike out of nowhere. A person who used to spend a lot of time worrying about every little thing starts to relax. When someone who harbored animosity softens their voice, tells the truth about old memories, or makes an effort to get in touch with someone from their past, they are beginning to feel better. Religion does not always provide an explanation for this. It is not necessary to have any rituals or beliefs. Something of a more subdued nature, a feeling that something within has settled, that the individual is aware of what is going to happen and is content with it in some way. It is possible that you will hear them speak in a manner that is poetic. The phrases, "I'm ready to go," or "I'll see you again soon," are examples of what they might come up with. When they converse about persons who have already passed away, they may act as if they are still there. They might even remark seeing light or having the sensation of being watched over. which is the absence of dread and frequently accompanied by a sense of calm that is difficult to put into words. In the clinical sense, these should not be considered hallucinations. In a variety of cultures, languages, and religious traditions, these are the experiences that have been documented. The term, nearing death awareness, is one that is used by nurses and hospice professionals. Additionally, for many people, it is a time of exquisite grace. Consider a woman named Lorraine, who was 84 years old and had been coping with anxiety for many years. As a careful person, she always required everything to be in perfect order. In spite of this, she looked at her daughter one afternoon after she had taken a nap and told her that it was acceptable to leave things be. Everything is okay at this point. The following evening, she asked to listen to her favorite music, and she simply smiled while closing her eyes and requesting to listen to it. Even though she passed away a few weeks later, her daughter never forgot how calm and collected she appeared on that particular day. This emotional lucidity is not always consistent, which is a crucial fact to keep in mind. It is possible that it will show up and disappear, but when it does, it will carry with it a profound chance for connection, one that is founded on love, honesty, and presence. Those who provide care and members of the family may experience these moments as if they were open windows. One has the opportunity to listen more, to push less, and to simply walk with another person as they discover their own path ahead. There is a possibility that tears will be shed, but there is also frequently a sense of relief because, in that moment of profound surrender, a sacred presence enters the space. I would appreciate it if you could use the 6th comment section below to let me know that you are continuing viewing this video and that you are finding these insights to be helpful. I strongly suggest that you subscribe to the channel and activate the bell if you have not already done so. This will ensure that you do not miss any videos. With your assistance, we are able to continue producing high-quality content that will both inform and inspire you. Now, let's proceed with our plans. Lastly, some thoughts. How do you feel about yourself? Please pause for a moment and reflect on what you have just listened to as we bring this video to a close. These 6 symptoms are not merely sensations, rather, they are indications. They are the body's way of preparing for transition in a manner that is both peaceful and dignified. And despite the fact that some of them might come as a surprise or even be frightening, each one of them carries significance. They encourage us to acknowledge the moments as they occur, to listen to them, and to pay closer attention to them. You might recognize one of these indications in someone you care about, or you might have seen it in yourself, and you are curious about what it indicates as a result of your observation. Please be aware that seeing these indications does not involve attempting to forecast a date or time. Regardless of what brought you here today, the key is to have an understanding. It is about walking with awareness with the intention of preventing fear from taking the lead. You are not the only one. Every person who is viewing this movie is a member of a small, compassionate group that is sincerely concerned about aging with dignity and being present when it matters the most. Also, knowing what to look for can sometimes change not only how we say goodbye, but also how we continue to stay connected while we still have the opportunity to do so. We appreciate you being here with us today. It would be wonderful if you could get in touch with us. In the comment section below, please share one thing that you have learned today and how you intend to put it to use in your life. Happy learning. We place a high value on your opinions, so please do not be reluctant to share them with us. Our inspiration and encouragement are greatly increased as a result of reading your remarks. I would appreciate it if you would like, subscribe, and share this video if you found it to be informative and enjoyable. With your assistance, we are able to continue producing high-quality content that will both inform and inspire you. We appreciate you taking the time to watch, and we hope to see you in the future video.